Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well out there. Just gonna do a quick video about one of my articles. We're gonna talk today about the relationship between newborns as well as children in the womb and caffeine exposure from the mother's ingestion. In the Western medical literature, they say that a breastfeeding or a pregnant mother can drink, um, I think it's 1 to 3 cups, or 1 cup of coffee, 1 large cup of coffee. I forget what the common consensus is. And I wrote an article available on savanana.org called Prenatal Caffeine Poisoning Induced Addiction Syndrome as a reasoning to try to figure out why a lot of people have trouble with addiction right now. And in my paper, I highlighted several studies from around the world, as usual, and they found that essentially the caffeine influences the gray matter of the brain. And the gray matter inside the brain's development, especially as a child, but even as an adult, helps to bridge the different areas of the brain so that the brain can communicate effectively between all of these different regions. Like language, memory, reason, all, instinctual feelings, all kinds of that kind of thing. And so we know it affects the children's and young adults and elderly's the communication in the brain because of the gray matter. We found that in these scans of the brain as well as other studies. And we also know that caffeine cannot be tolerated in the human body, even in adults or elderly people. When in these studies that are available in the publicly available medical literature from universities all around the world, they indicate to us that the adenosine system, it's one of the systems in our body, in our brain, it cannot tolerate even a small amount of caffeine. And why is that? Well, we know because as soon as someone drinks a cup of coffee, their cerebral blood flow and their adenosine receptors start to change in their brain. For instance, the brain will start receiving half as much blood in the cerebral blood flow going to the brain. So that process takes place for at least 3 or 4 days. So even drinking just 1 cup of coffee, your oxygen level in the brain will be reduced by 30 to 50% for at least 3 to 4 days. Just 1 cup of coffee. And when we look into the newborns or prenatal children, we see that caffeine has a half-life of at least 3 days in the children. Okay, why are all these kids having a hard time going to sleep or taking a nice long nap? When the mother is drinking at least 1 cup of coffee, even if it's decaf, even if it's a small cup of coffee, the children are being exposed to percentages of that caffeine, and those percentages remain in the children's bodies for at least 6 days from just 1 cup of coffee. Caffeine does a lot of other things too. It leaches magnesium from our blood, it leaches calcium from our bones as our bodies attempt to regulate the pH due to the acidity levels of the caffeine throwing off our pH. And so the way our body makes the body more basic is it actually uses the minerals from our bones or our blood that our heart needs especially to survive. So of course the Western medical system does not know any of this, and indeed even recommends coffee to new mothers. And So a lot of children are having trouble sleeping and getting good naps. And it's kind of a twofold occurrence here. It has to do with any type of fake sugar based formula, sugar based foods, plant based foods, primarily plant based diets for the children, as well as caffeine exposure, caffeine poisoning, just like I went over in my addiction syndrome article available at sapanana.org. So, if you need help with the caffeine addiction, I have a lot of experience with this in my yoga classes and my clients from around the United States. So if anybody needs help, just let me know. Schedule an appointment at sapanana.org. And hope everybody's doing well out there. Thank you.